Audrey Brailer, the owner of Giacinta's Gelato and Cafe, Audrey's Avenue Kitchen and Bar, and Bare Necessities Candy and Soda. The idea kind of started 2019 to be my own boss, be a business owner. So we started looking for locations for that first business, Giacinta's. Settled on that April of 2020. And then, the rest is history. We were able to get Giacinta's open October 2021. And then I was approached beginning of 2023 to put a restaurant and bar here in downtown St. Clairsville. While working on that, the opportunity to buy the local candy shop in the Ohio Valley Mall came about summer of 2023. So that was kind of an impulse decision, but happy to do it nonetheless. And then we were able to get Audrey's Avenue opened July of 2024.
So what were you doing prior?
So actually 2019, when we started looking for locations, I was still in school at Wheeling Jesuit University. I was getting my bachelor's in literature, just something that I had always been super into, and I just wanted to do it, so I did it. And then I was a instructor in Taekwondo as well, 4th degree black belt. So I did that for about 13 years.
So underaccomplished. Don't mess with her.
So I'd always worked at small businesses growing up, and I always loved the field, and just the ability to, and this is probably the most ironic part of it, was create my own schedule. And then you realize once you're running your own business that instead of working, 8 hours a day, you're working 24/7, which isn't for the weak-minded, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't have it any other way, because it does give you a sort of freedom you wouldn't have otherwise. And my father was a businessman. He had his own business. When I told my parents that this might be something I wanted to do, they were on board. They were like, if that's the case, and if you put in the work, we'll support you. So, they made it easy too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that helped.
That's why hate to be the stereotypical story where you follow in your parents' footsteps, but I think that's kind of what happened.
What kind of business did he have?
He is a mechanical engineer, so he has an engineering firm in Cambridge, Ohio.
Okay.
So
how did you settle on first gelato?
Well, my original intent was an ice cream shop. I wanted somewhere fun to hang out, somewhere that, a community hub, which Giacinta's did turn into. The idea came about to do gelato instead, something different for the area. And then as we're building out the business plan, you realize you need to sell a lot of gelato. So then that's doing some more research, looking into things. In Italy, if you go to a gelato shop, there's also coffee. It's just a natural pairing over there. So that's where the coffee came about. And once we settled on this location that we have in St. Clairsville, that's when we brought food into the mix too, because of what St. C needed.
So you did a lot of planning before you opened your first business.
Oh yes. Working with the Belmont County Improvement Corporation, and then with the Small Business Development Center in Ohio. Just being able to build out that business plan, 3-year projections, making sure that, what do we need to do to make this succeed?
Yeah. And I think that's a piece that a lot of people miss. They're in such a big hurry to get going.
Exactly.
That they don't plan.
Exactly. I don't sign a lease for a spot until that business plan is done. I had never worked in food service before I opened Giacinta's. So I learned everything on my own, kind of from scratch. I took one barista training class, and then I trained my team. I did some online courses for food manager, food protection, got that certificate, and just learned from there, really.
And how many employees do you have collectively?
Collectively, we were just about at 30. Now I did just have a couple leave, go to school, so we're going back down to probably about 25, 26.
How do you stay on top of all that?
Just one thing at a time. I love, my father's my biggest business consult, and he's imparted some very specific lessons to me. And one of those things was the to-do list. There is no to-do list that you can cross off and be done with. There's always something. You just take it one thing at a time and you prioritize it. So, what needs done today? Days that I need to run payroll, I'm running payroll. Days that taxes are due, I'm paying the taxes. So it's just a matter of prioritizing what needs done in that moment. And then as far as team management, well, ideally and luckily businesses are within a 5-minute radius of each other, so I kind of do my rounds every day.
That's helpful.
It is. That's what I always joke that the candy store gets forgotten about being the one furthest away, because I can't hop over back and forth as easy as I do with Giacinta's and Audrey's Avenue.
Yeah. But as you were doing Audrey's Avenue, did you think a lot about what would go well with Giacinta's? I mean, what was your thought process of what you wanted?
And that's exactly what the thought process was, because our ultimate goal is to help improve downtown St. Clairsville and bring more businesses to downtown St. Clairsville. And the fact of the matter is, and one of the reasons I had to get into food service, is people are going to come for the food and they're going to stay for the food. Everything else is just extra. So we noticed at Giacinta's we were getting that business for breakfast and lunch, and then evening hours were dying off, and St. Clairsville was just going dead in the evenings. So, okay, how do we bring nightlife to St. C? You have to start with dinner. So that's where Audrey's Avenue kind of came into play. Dinner, being able to sit down, have a beer, a glass of wine for dinner with dinner as well. And just something different that hasn't been here in town for many years.
And I like it that you're thinking of how to complement, how to help each business.
And that's just it is, people ask me, why would you compete with yourself? It's not. The ideas for each are completely different. Coffee versus alcohol, breakfast sandwiches versus dinner. It complements. You have people now coming for Audrey's Avenue and they see Giacinta's. Let me come back and grab that one day. And it's the same with other businesses in downtown St. Clairsville as well. We're working with other business owners to make this happen. The diner uptown, Knollstown Diner, was able to get their liquor license as well last year, 2023. I'm great friends with them. We've been working together. They complement each other. Nights that we're busy, they're busy too. And it's just a matter of collaborating and, what does it take not only to get people here, but to get them coming back. Phone calls and being on hold. Some days I wonder, if I didn't have to do all that, how much further along would I be with other things? And that is the most surprising aspect, I think, of it for me, is I can try and plan my day as much as I want, and this is what I'm going to get done today, and then half of it can't get done because something else always needs taken care of.
I was just thinking about you're your own business owner, but there's so much dependence on, and you can't control that all the time.
When people ask me what my job is, I am a businesswoman. I am not a chef that decided to open a restaurant. I am not a coffee enthusiast that tried to open a coffee shop. I am a businesswoman that looked at the numbers, knew how to do the business side of things, and figured out what would work in the community. And then I hire the chef that loves food and knows how to work with food. And I hire the baristas that are talented with making drinks and can come up with the ideas for drinks. Because at the end of the day, I don't have time to be back behind the counter mixing flavor profiles and trying them all. Now, the baristas love to do that. And that's one of their favorite parts of the jobs. And that's why they're back behind the counter and I'm behind the computer. And there has to be, especially having 3. I mean, I'd love to have 3 of me, but at the end of the day, there's not. So we do at Giacinta's, it's called a shift leader protocol. So Giacinta is now being open 3 years, is very self-sufficient. We've had workers there that have been there with us for 2 years, or if not the whole time. And that shift leader protocol basically designates somebody each shift to be in charge and make sure that each item that we have to do each day gets done. And that has been working well for us for the past few months since I've initiated that. I have hired a store manager at the candy shop. She's there 4 to 5 days out of the week, handles the daily maintenance of the store, making sure it's being maintained, making sure other employees are getting there on time. She does the inventory, the ordering. So a bulk of that is taken off my shoulders as well. Audrey's Avenue is still pretty young, still pretty just getting our sea legs still. So I'm still very active in this process, being here, being the supervisor. I plan on taking 2 vacations next month though. So I'm quickly getting kind of the protocols together for here too and designating people in charge. Because I have to be able to run it remotely.
And that's important to be able to do, but you also know your strengths. So you know in what areas to designate.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, when I'm sitting here at Audrey's Avenue, I'm still working on the computer. The most they need me for is, okay, they messed something up at a table, now we need to rectify it with the customer. And as we have more of those situations, the employees are learning how to handle those situations, how we want it handled, to the point where, okay, now when you have that question, go to so-and-so instead, because they know the answer to it. Otherwise, I'm not going back in the kitchen cooking. I'm not the one behind the bar making drinks. So that's, again, not my specialty. So I don't need to actively be there to do that.
You don't micromanage.
And they, you know what? All the employees joke about that all the time. They micromanage, and we always joke that my only talent is supervising. But I like to think that if they ever do need help, I jump in. I still know how to make all the drinks at Giacinta's. I was just in there the other day helping with a larger order, running food for the waitresses. I was back in the kitchen the other day, burnt my hand. And they make fun of me, but hey, the dish got out, so. I think that's mostly just based on, you can look at it on the financial side and make sure the numbers are working right. But I believe it's how it's improving the lives, not only of the community, but the workers as well. I had multiple workers when we opened Audrey's Avenue quit their other jobs to work here full time. So that's a big commitment, and I recognize that. So I want to make sure they're happy here. I want to make sure that this is fulfilling for them as well. These businesses were never about me. And, people always say, congratulations, looks great, all this hard work. And I'm appreciative of it. And I recognize it did take a lot. But that's just the beginning. Now it's, we get these workers in here, and now the community's involved. To be able to maintain that momentum for years to come. I think failure comes more when you can no longer financially maintain it. But by not financially maintaining it, that means community's not involved, You're not having the workers being able to fulfill those roles. It does all tie hand in hand, I believe. What is failure? Wish I had a better answer. Thankfully, I haven't run into too much of it yet. And that might sound vain, I know, but...
Did you grow up in St. Clairsville?
Most of my life,
Okay.
Yes.
So you're very invested in the community.
Yes, we moved around a lot when I was younger because of my dad's work. We settled in this area. I was about 5 or 6 years old, so I only remember vaguely the other places. But I went to school at St. Mary's Central, St. Clairsville High School. Went to college locally. I love St. Clairsville. It's a quaint little town. It's beautiful. It's safe. It's clean. I mean, I want to make this the place I want to stay. We always hear that with, small towns like St. Clairsville, the younger generation wants to move out. And so be it, go explore, try some new things. But if you want to get people to stay, you have to make it somewhere they want to be. And that was my goal. If I'm going to stay, I'm going to bring the stuff here that I want.
We're big on that. Yeah, we're very big on that. Because, in fact, when we had to start the 501c3, we named it Create Our Future.
Okay.
Because of that very thing. We get tired of people saying, oh, there's nothing. Then create it.
Yes,
exactly. Make it what you are.
I hear it a lot from students. What's there? Nothing. And yeah, there's a lot of pessimism towards the area.
And personally for me, I've traveled a lot, and I understand a lot of people haven't had that opportunity either. But it's all the same to me, I love to travel, I love to see new places, but I'd rather be settled down somewhere. Mm-hmm. And St. Clairsville is a nice place to do that. But it just, it needs that little extra creativeness or some other entrepreneurs to bring some life back, especially to our downtown areas.
I think I have this completely unsupported theory, but huge cities, I still think that people that live there, they still find their one or two places in their circle of friends. You know what I mean? They don't go to every restaurant in New York City or
Exactly.
They like knowing they can, but I still think people always look for the place where they can walk in and say hi and know the owners, and I don't know, it's just my theory, but
I believe it.
And I think, and I moved around a lot too, and no matter where you live, it's the same story. People want to leave when they graduate. Well, that's also maybe part of just growing up, that people want to, or travel or something. People in Bexley, I was talking about this to a couple folks in Bexley. Yeah, our kids want to leave Bexley too as soon as they graduate. So it's not.
I think it's just part of, human nature.
Exactly.
Leaving the nest and doing something for yourself on your own. That humans do crave a sense of independence.
Right.
That's no secret. So you are going to find that issue. It's never going to be unique to one spot. So then the question is, if we're expecting our young people that have grown up here to leave, how do we bring young people leaving from somewhere else here? And the answer is still the same. You still have to have those businesses or the school district, just, amenities that make it worth living here.
It's the quality of life.
Exactly. I contribute that fully to my team and my support system. I've been very blessed in life with the people around me and those willing to help me on this journey. If Giacinta's wasn't able to self-manage the way it has been, if I didn't have the trust in my workers that are over there right now, even to be sitting right here while they're over there serving customers, I never would have been able to leave. There's many business owners I know that they are at their business the entire time it's open. And I was like that at the beginning, and I'm like that right now with Audrey's Avenue. But to be able to grow out of that is putting trust in people and finding those right people. I've been blessed with our staff at Giacinta's to be able to do that. With the candy shop as well at Bare Necessities, being able to find those couple people that not even that do their job well, but understand the job as well. Understand all the aspects of it, like customer service and why it's important to maintain a clean workspace and all that. And that have that work ethic and drive to help it succeed as well. So I've been blessed in that aspect. And then the fact as well that I have these business consults, including my father, the SBDC, the CIC, where anytime I might be doubting something or have a question like, what do we do next? What do you do in this situation? we can bounce ideas around and know. So when I have an issue with a worker, I can contact other people that with more experience than me. How do you deal with this issue? And I can get it resolved.
Yeah.
And do so fairly quickly as well.
You set the bar high for your employees.
I have. I like to think that I have. But I also like to think that, I've had my fair share of bosses in life too. How to be a boss, how to be not even a boss, a leader of that matter. I don't like to consider my employees working for me. I like to think that they're working with me. We're all in this. I can't be 3 places at once. I can't be in the kitchen cooking and behind the bar making drinks and serving the tables while also making coffees over there. It's not feasible and it's impossible. So, if this all succeeds financially, to bring them with me too, to make sure they're taken care of. It's certainly a term that you hear around this area, and it's certainly something that does carry a lot of meaning to many people around this area. My family was originally from the Butler, Pennsylvania area. I don't want to say they grew up in poverty, but my father kind of did. My father, by terms of successfulness, however you define it, I'd say he's certainly made that for himself, to create a better life for himself and his kids than what he grew up with.
But it's the perseverance.
Yes.
And the family pride.
Use the resources available to you. Again, the SBDC, the Belmont CIC, absolutely invaluable in the fact that they are free to the business owners and they are readily available. I think on that a little bit more too. Yeah, use the resources. Always good to plug for you guys. I do. I say that all the time. Anytime anybody's come up to me with an idea or, how do you get started, I direct them straight to the SBDC or the CIC. Crystal, I think I've given your number out to a couple people. Now, whether or not they've contacted you, yeah. So.
Yeah.
I don't think I thought too much of that because we rarely get the chance to.
Right.
But I say this, and I think a lot of community members can agree that the small businesses are the lifelines of the community. We're the ones supporting the sports teams, and we're the ones doing, Nolestown Diners just done 2 fundraisers for local families. Chains aren't doing that. Very few, and I could be wrong, and I know there is some, but what politicians are doing that, At the end of the day, you walk through my door, I know your name, I'm here to serve you, make your night, make your day a little better. That's an important role in the community. And I feel that powers that be, that's what you want to invest in. And I don't say that as in, of course I'm going to say that because, give us funding. But for anybody, let's get that funding to make Main Street, brighten it up and fix some of the storefronts. Let's get the grants to allow businesses to get into these storefronts, get their sea legs and make sure that they can make it a couple months. And then, all right, now that they're settled in, let them succeed. It is hard to get going because, and I even ran into this starting Giacinto's when we were looking for grant money. You had to be in business for so long. If I'm already in business for so long, that means it's working. I'm working. And I understand the other side of that too. You don't want to give grant money to something that's going to fail. You have to be able to prove yourself. It's a very blurred line. It is. But sometimes that's a risk you got to take for a greater reward.
Sounds like a lot of catch-22.
It is. It is. You know, it's easy for me to say, hey, give me money, because of course I'm going to make it work. But I would be hesitant to give somebody I didn't know, you know, 10 grand to get in a storefront and start working.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it could fail within a few months if they're not putting that work in. You have to be able to prove. And that's, again, I think where that business plan comes in, those financials come in. You know, that you need a show before you get in a space and open your doors that you're willing to put the work in.
We're big about, usually if I speak like at a Rotary or something like that, people are like, well, what business is coming in? And this whole notion that everybody's waiting to be saved, and it drives me insane. Like, why are we waiting? So that's kind of also how the Create Our Future came about. Why are we not helping, like you said, let's create what we want here? Why are we relying on somebody to come in and assume, and we give them the tax abatements, but we won't give small businesses who are here, who make the quality of life possible, who are invested here, and who won't leave? You know, it just seems so backwards to me.
Right.
The whole.
And it builds dependence on, you know, outside decisions, places that, or people or companies or whatever that really, I mean, they don't have any particular vested interest.
And we ran into this issue in Center Market Wheeling. You know, my family and I, we own the building that Grandpa Joe's candy store moved into.
Okay.
Now, don't advertise in where we bought this building, we're fixing it up. Many people think Grandpa Joe's owns that building. And there was an influx of messages of, we're so happy this outside source came and fixed this up. And we just threw it in there a couple of times. We're like, hey, no, actually a local family owns that building, and brought them in.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this goes back to Appalachia, but it's that mindset almost that there's a lot of mindset that we can't do anything, and that we need that outside help.
Mm-hmm.